So the question is, what does a product owner do if the team are incompetent? Well, if it's really that bad and the team really are incompetent, I would say fire them and get a new team. That's ultimately where I would go with that. Now that predisposes, obviously, we're going to try our hardest to engage with that team, to enable them to have every opportunity to improve. All of the things that you would expect to happen, right? We're not assholes. We're not just going to fire people for no reason. But the fact that the question is the team is incompetent, don't work with incompetent people. Don't hire incompetent people. Don't keep incompetent people. They are not the people you need in your business to be successful. Amazing teams build amazing products, and amazing teams don't come from incompetence. So get rid of those folks as quickly as you humanly can. Now, if it's they don't know something that they could have known, that's not necessarily incompetence. You want to provide them with training opportunities. You want to provide them with knowledge opportunities. You want to provide them with, I don't know. I've never worked with I've never actually met. Actually, that is not true. Well, it's kind of true, kind of not true. I was going to say I've never actually worked with a truly incompetent team. But I have, but they were not incompetent in their favor, if that makes sense. So I worked with a team in an organization. It was a bank, and they had man, I'm trying to think of other teams. Yeah, there's plenty of other teams I've worked with that present as incompetent that actually aren't. So this team that I'm talking about, they they have. I was a lowly DevOps consultant helping a part of the organization transition from what they were using before into Azure DevOps, TFS at the time. And this was Java teams. So at the time, if you were a Java team and you had to use TFS, you were already a little bit hostile towards it, right? So there's that. But this particular team didn't want to use source control. They believed that it would slow them down. That's their comment on source control. And I kind of asked them, I challenged them a little bit and said, well, why do you think it would slow you down? And they're like, well, if we need to make changes, we just log into the environment and make the changes. So I asked them about how do they develop, and it's like, well, we just log into the server, the production server. We open up our IDE, we make changes to the code, and we publish it right away. And I was kind of like, but how do you do that publish? And they're like, well, we just click the publish button and it goes straight into production. So already I'm horrified, right? I was horrified already, even more horrified now. And then I asked, because they have 5 servers around the world, I said, how do you keep all of those servers in sync? How do you make the changes across all of those servers? And they said, that's why there's 5 of us. There's 5 people on this team. Each one owned a server independently. And when there were changes needed to the code, they would all log in independently, write their own code in their own way on their server in order to action those changes. So I was even more horrified. And then you find out that it's the real-time banking transaction system for a multinational bank, and now you don't want to keep your money in a bank anymore. Those types of teams, there was a strategic incompetence, right? Because they're making sure the bank can never fire them. And when I brought it up with leadership and said that this is a massive risk to your business, they said, we know, but if we say anything, they'll leave. And then what do we do? Right? So this small group of people were holding an entire multinational bank hostage for this piece of software, and that's not okay. That goes beyond incompetence towards malevolence, right? And that level of malevolence, the organization, this would be my recommendation, the organization needs to fire that entire group of people and take their lumps for figuring out how to resolve the problem, right? Of actually figuring out the software, getting it out of those servers. If those people are still around, they're going to sabotage that at all costs because it's their property. They believe it's their property. They believe they control it. So if you have a truly malevolent team, definitely fire them. If you have an incompetent team, probably fire them, but be careful that you're not reading incompetence into just they don't know stuff. They've never been told. I've worked with teams that don't understand how source control works, that they know how branching works, but they didn't know how merging worked because nobody had ever explained it to them. So teach them as best they can, get rid of the malevolence, work on the incompetence, but ultimately, if they're that bad, get rid of them. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like, follow, and subscribe. I always reply to comments, and if you want to have a chat about this or anything else, Agile, Scrum, or DevOps, then please book a coffee with me through NKDAgility.